Hey, yo, how you doing, guys? This is Deshaun Woods of your City Coaches Podcast. I'm here to share. It's a little special to me. We're going to talk about Phil Jackson's triangle offense. Want to hit it a little bit. We're all excited about the MJ doc, The Last Dance. It's loosely about MJ, supposedly focusing on this last year that Phil Jackson, the whole crew was all together, but it actually goes into details of some of his premier matchups and, trials and tribulations of the player, coming up into the lead. My guy Kobe's in the next episode. I don't know how I'm going to handle it, but we want to handle it. It's the crazy thing about that is the fact that Kobe, I don't know, man, every time I watch that doc, I feel like I'm watching Kobe. Obviously, not to the same magnitude, but there's like 1A and 1B in my opinion. But also Kobe's my favorite player of all time. Speaking of Bryant's, shout out to Gigi Bryant. It's her birthday would have been her 14th birthday today. God rest her beautiful soul. All right, back into the show. So I'm going to take opportunity here to let Phil Jackson, it's not like you really hear, but I'm going to use some content that support Phil Jackson, showing some of the triangle action. Why am I doing it? Well, this is a coaching podcast. All right, this is about coaches. So, we glorify players all the time. We all got our top 5, top 10. I know the debate is back up between 1 and 2, or whatever. But, for the most part, here we are. And let me show you guys a little bit of the triangle offense, Phil Jackson's system. It's very exciting because of the fact that, kids need to know, let me back up a little bit. I understand that, the game's changed a lot. I would say a lot, not even a little bit. And it's more of an individual game in a lot of different ways, but a lot of mid-major colleges still playing within the system. And realistically, you have a more higher chance of having a mid-major player on your roster. No disrespect to Arizona, especially Arizona. And coaches, really truthfully, it's good for you too. If you want to move around, you want mobility from high school to college to pros or whatever it is, you need to be able to first get kids into college, and second, making sure they're good to go to not be sent home by January of that school year. So this is some of the most sexiest offense that you'll ever see. You'll see that there's unselfishness basketball, and that worked because not only you have the greatest player of all time on your team, but it didn't really look like he was alone. It looked like anyone could have got an opportunity to be a part of the offense. It's very exciting. So no further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Watching this doc has really got me excited about everything. And it's like, oh my God, like some beautiful music. It's like music. It's like when you watch this stuff, it's like really musical to your ears and everything. So let's get this bad boy fired up. And I'll be back on the back end of this.
We taught a lot about this offense was how to use footwork when you catch the ball at the wing. And one of the things about it, the footwork, is you give the team 2 seconds, a 2 count, to organize itself. So Jordan's assessing using footwork and allowing the players to get into position so when he comes up he can see where the defense is as opposed to what the offense is going to take advantage of. That's just mental penetration with the ball, and Harp not wanting to hang out and take a shot from the outside dive cuts. It has an obvious dunk at the basket. Let's go back to the start of that sequence here and see how this unfolds. Guard quickie, weak side wing sneak. You can see Kukoc just clearing this area here so Jordan can come off this pick and go to the basket. It could be a lob if it's available. That's too long a pass for a lob. but it's also an isolation. As the triangle gets organized here, and Kukoc takes the ball into the wing position, Jordan steps up and sets a back pick, and this is the corner series. Kukoc normally should be making a baseline cut, but Rodman's a little bit high, so he cuts over the top.
See, that right there, like the fact that there's a 3-man option, but you see that the other two aren't just sitting over in the corner. They're screwing an array for each other for options for, for a cross-court pass, or maybe screening away to do a cross-court, back screen for a player that's got to come around. So you actually see that it may start out on, when you see on the screen, it may start out that it's a triangle action, which obviously is what it's about, but everyone's involved. And obviously no one has the opportunity to just stand around and look bored. So that's something that's actually was very successful for the Chicago Bulls during that time frame. You'll see something like that with the triangle offense with his Lakers as well. But we're focused on the Bulls right now.
And it sets up a screen roll in the corner, which is an obvious open opportunity for Rodman, who misses the first attempt, gets the second. Last seconds of the third quarter. There's what we talked about before, middle penetration, a fan pass to a reset of the triangle. There you see it, reset. Jordan has gone to the post. Has the option to make passes out of that position, to clear space for him. He knows he's got plenty of time because there's probably our last shot. Maybe overpassed the ball a little bit that time. Let's go back to
like right here, like that, like he just showed some of that cross-court action. They're about to replay it anyway, but I wanted to stop at this opportunity. Some of the cross-court action, like you see that they're making themselves available, even if someone doesn't read correctly, or in Phil Jackson's eyes, what he's saying that he thinks Kukoc may have made a mistake. Pippen may have made a mistake. But Kukoc, no matter what, he still saw all the action and all the defenders coming into the paint. So he said, well, if all these guys are drawing, I need to get a kick-out action. So that's why he pulled himself away, and he was able to finally get open. And but he also still unstuck his basketball. He decided to dump it down. Probably should have took the shot, though.
The beginning of this sequence, so you can see all the activity that goes on here. This is strong side entry, strong side fill. We set up the triangle. Kerr looks at Burrell on the weak side. He's overplayed and comes back to the curl cut here. You can see the Pippen's on the curl cut, which is one of the options. And Tony steps back behind that curl cut, and he's got obviously a shot here, but he puts the ball down. Clock's starting to run out on us, and Steve keeps the ball moving. And now it becomes a solo. This is what we call a solo with a singular post and wing entry guy. And now it's going to be a squeeze cut with Burrell. And it sets up Steve Kerr. Dennis opts to go weak side for some reason. And I think he just jumped the play a little bit.
So, like you said, even when a play breaks down, players are still moving around for another option. I mean, this has been recorded. I don't know if Phil Jackson's been recorded saying this, but it's been recorded to the fact that he was able to get over 300-something looks out of this on any given game. You see that opportunity that when the ball comes down, when there's a single option, Dennis Rodman rather, and Rodman's always going to look to pass him because he wasn't a scorer or he never tried to score. During this time with Chicago, maybe a different story back in the day with the Pistons or even the Spurs. But you see that this unselfish basketball, even when you think like you said already, I hate to, triple down on this, but they still try to dump it down.
Before it had an opportunity to work. It's basic action. It's strong side entry by Steve Kerr. He's going to make a strong side fill to the corner. Kukoc makes 2 passes to the top. Burrell comes to the pinch post, And both players go with Pippa coming off pinch post and Scott Burrell has an open layup to drive to the hoop. Here's your basic triangle, 2 pass to the post. Wing entry. And this is a squeeze cut again. We talked about that before. Burrell makes the step through off a screen.
So, I mean, he gave you breakdowns. It was that moment with MJ. I want to see. I wonder if this would actually happen in a game where you would submit yourself to another player coming down. As you see right here, you'll see that Steve Kerr has the opportunity.
And this is a squeeze cut again. We talked about that before. Burrell makes the step through off a screen.
Let's see here. Let me see if I can back it up a little bit more.
Ball to the corner. Kukoc makes 2 pass to the top. Burrell comes to the pinch post. And both players go with Pippa coming off pinch post, and Scott Burrell has an open layup to drive to the hoop.
Because you see Jordan comes in, well, really.
Here's your basic triangle, 2 pass to the post. Wing entry. And this is a squeeze cut again. We talked about that before. Burrell makes the step through off a.
So, that's some of this stuff I was talking about. When it comes to Jordan and when it comes to Phil Jackson's system and program. So, like I said, I want to thank you guys for the opportunity to pay attention to the City of Coaches podcast during this very, very, very trying time in America. And no further ado, I want to say peace. Please look me up on Twitter, Coach DL Woods, on the Twitter. You can look at the podcast. You go to YouTube, type in City Coaches Podcast, or just type in my name, Deshaun Woods. You're able to find some of our beautiful content, some raw, natural communication. Conversations with various different coaches throughout the Arizona region, as well as my Coach Gaines over that I used to coach with at the college I was at. I think it's my first interview. So please, if you have time, you might not have time, but if you have time, go check out the previous interviews. I even did some of these Zoom interviews. I did a couple of Zoom interviews very recently. I'm going to open that back up soon. What else I got to say? I don't know. Like, there's no shade to anyone who's watching this, but honestly, truthfully, this is a coach's podcast, so we want to talk about running systems as well. So I want to get more into details. We're going to do more details with some of the schemes, the offensive schemes, and maybe some defensive schemes. Some that I've created, and some that obviously some of the best coaches and programs have utilized throughout these years of this thing called basketball. Peace and love, and see you guys on the next episode.